So if that is balanced, then his entire life is balanced. So what does that balance basically means? What is that perfect character? It's nothing but a state of perfect balance where all the senses, right, all our sensory organs, the tendencies, our Raj, Tam, Sat, our thoughts and actions, right, are, and when I say the tendencies are like how you react, or how you perceive, or through your senses, your thoughts, actions. If all of these things are basically in a state of harmony with inner guidance, then then there is a perfection in character, or rather we have a perfect character. So just to reiterate, character is basically that innermost core center where our thoughts, our actions, our tendencies, and all our senses are in a state of complete harmony. Since it's in the state of complete harmony, there is a lot of inner guidance that we constantly perceive and we constantly receive. Uh, so moving on to the next slide. So how do we give children the right perspective, right? So when we think about character, do we spend enough time thinking about character? It's not about being good sometimes. It's not about being good often. It's about, are we being good all the time, right? So how often do we ask our children who come back from school? They return back from school, we hug them, we ask them, what happened in your school, right? We ask them, what mark did you score? We ask them, who got, even if they say I got 80 marks, we ask them who got first mark, right? What is that first mark? 90 or 98? How many marks did you score less? Why, where did you leave? So we show a lot of anxiety towards, or if it's sports, did you come in the second place? Great. We don't, the immediate next question is, who won the first place? By what did you lose, right? How many of us take time to ask questions like, whom did you help today? Did you give others a chance to speak in the class, right? And how did you how did you feel today? So how many of us focus on questions like that? Are you able to resonate? Like, parents who have children, I'm sure as mothers, most of us, and as parents, as fathers, most of us, we go behind a lot of intellectual happiness, not necessarily that we do not want to pay attention to character, but I think there is a lot more emphasis on material success. We tend to focus more on the muscles of intellects and ambition. The same rigor is not applied to build the muscles of kindness, empathy, and humility. Right. So, any examples from you in terms of any parents who really adapting this positive way of questioning your child? Any examples to share of how the child reacts very differently at home? Are we learning how to ask positive questions? Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. So
sister, we are learning. Yes, sister, we are learning. Always learning. Lot of insights from your speech. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So here, what is the role of a parent, and a teacher? Why is it become even so important in today's life, right? We are in today's life where we do not have the joint family system where grandparents take a lot of care in terms of teaching and coaching. With grandparents missing, the role of a parent and the role of a teacher, the burden that they share has tremendously increased. At home, it's the family that guides the child, and outside of home, the teacher plays that role. So when there is reverence, there is care and love. If you look at the ancient times, the yogic time, an elder, after waking up, he doesn't keep his feet on the ground. He offers prayer to Mother Earth before even touching the land. Since those time, reverential attitude towards Mother Earth, towards parents, elders, and teachers has been praised and nurtured. But today, what do? We keep alarm. When 5 o'clock, when the alarm strikes, the first thing that some of us remember is, oh, I have to go heat this, do that. Today's tiffin bus will come, right? So the kids are observing us, right? Kids learn from us. Do we take that 10 minutes to calmly sit and begin our day with a prayer, which creates this reverence, which teaches our kids in terms of what's the very first activity that could help us center ourselves and focus, or rather give that focus towards character, which is the foundation or center of us. So today parents are struggling to instill such values. As a result, the surroundings are filled with noises. There is a lot of superficial feeling, a lot of pride, a lot of self-indulgence, while sincerity, authenticity, depth, and humility, we think the child will automatically learn when they are growing up. How will it learn? For science and math, we sit and we teach them, and we say, keep practicing, then only you will get full marks. If we do not intend to make them sit and have a conversation about, say, humility, personality, authenticity, character, and if we believe that they will pick it on their own, how far? How much? Right? So, for example, why is this important? There was a survey that was conducted in the US, which is from 37,000 college students, that shows narcissistic traits grew just as fast as obesity between 1980 to 2004, because that is the time frame. The early 80s is the time frame where we lost touch. There was this generation deviation or this generation gap, or something churned out very differently after the 80s. So in the UK, 6% wanted to be lawyers, 8% wanted to be writers, and 34% wanted to be YouTubers. You know why? Because fame. They wanted to be famous. They wanted to be known for. And that is all was the only thirst of their life, because that's what they see. So anyways, the past was not perfect. But when it comes to character development, we have to pay diligent attention, because that was provided by elders in those days. Like if you look at, a couple of generations before, there was a lot of attention that was provided to character building. In the present, this has a lot of area, or rather scope of improvement, because in our busy schedule, we don't think there is a need to spend that 10 minutes on character building. All it takes is the 10-15 minutes of conversation. However, we take it for granted. We think, get up early, study, sit in this time, like we're perfecting them, but we're perfecting them towards what? I'll leave it there. So if you think about ambition and aspiration, there is a big difference. Ambition is all about, I want to be powerful. I want to be in a powerful rank. I want to be in fame. That's ambition, right? We are growing up ambitious kids who wants to be powerful, who wants to be authoritative, who wants to be in the top rank. While aspiration is more related to achieving some higher accomplishments in life. So there is nothing wrong to be ambitious, but when you are aspirational, you're more empathetic, you're more humble. So aspiration is more an accomplishment. Just wanted us to be aware that as we raise ambitious kids, can we also think about raising kids who have better aspirations, or rather better goals in life, to accomplish something bigger than themselves by using their own innermost strength or potential. While, for example, if I want to be rich, right, I don't care cheating 10 people, but I want to be rich. That's ambition. But aspiration is about, I have to do much better in life than what I am now, but I'll be ethical, I'll be honest. It will not come at the cost of compromising my personal values. So are we teaching our kids to be ambitious, or are we also feeding into the kids the thought process of aspiration? While you want to grow, ensure that you're not doing a stampede. You're not stamping others for the sake of your own growth, right? So moving on, mirror neurons. Have anybody heard of this term, mirror neurons? Like, have anybody felt in the road, sometimes we feel someone else has fallen, Say we see some accident, we feel as though it has happened for us, within us, in our own family, right? As though we got hurt. Something happening somewhere affects us when we read about it or when we witness it. It makes us feel as though it is happening to us. Have we come across that feeling? Have all of us realized, felt that?
Yes.
Wonderful. So then, this is a research. It's basically so further research by other leading scientists shows that humans have a system of mirror neurons that are far superior to those found in monkeys. So we'll see the monkey experiment in the next slide. But what this mirror neuron is all about in humans appears to be present in several regions of the brain, including the inferior frontal cortex, which is responsible for processing speech and language and impulse control, and superior lobes, which is basically responsible for your sensory information, understanding, spatial orientation, body awareness, etc. The research indicates that the human mirror neurons not only respond to the actions of others, but to their own emotions and interactions as well. So, mirror neurons are responsible for moving us from thinking to feeling. So, parents should change their habit because children are wired to mimic us. If you get up at 9 o'clock, there is no way the children at home will learn to get up at 6 o'clock, right? If we keep using cell phones, there's no way the children will not touch the cell phones, right? So, what we have to remember is there is a tendency in human beings to copy. The person whom you're always associating yourself with has the tendency to influence you because of this mirror neuron tendency. We all tend to copy, we all tend to be influenced. So let us look at this small play. Can you hear it?
Let me take you back to the early 1990s.
Yes, ma'am.
Laboratory in Parma, Italy, and scientists had a MRI brain scanning machine on a macaque monkey as the macaque monkey was trying to open up a nut. They wanted to see how the neurons would light up. So the monkey's trying to open up the nut, the neurons light up, and just by serendipity, this is how science sometimes happens. A human being walked into the laboratory, I don't know if it was by mistake, and he was hungry, he saw the nuts and opened up one of the nuts and tried to crack it open. The macaque monkey was totally shocked because who was this invader in his laboratory? And he didn't move. He just gazed at this human trying to open up the nut, just like he had done a few seconds earlier. And then the scientist looked on the MRI brain scanner. The same exact neurons were lighting up when he observed the human being opening the nut as when the monkey opened the nut. And the scientists had not a clue as to what this was. They thought the MRI machine had broken. They then began to put MRI brain scanning machines on other primates, especially chimpanzees with our big neocortex. Then they went to humans. And what they found over and over again is something called mirror neurons. And that is that we are apparently soft-wired, some of the primates, all humans. We suspect elephants. We're not sure about dolphins and dogs. We've just begun. But all humans are soft-wired with mirror neurons so that if I'm observing you, your anger, your frustration, your sense of rejection, your joy, whatever it is, what you're doing, the same neurons will light up in me as if I'm having that experience myself. Now, this isn't all that unusual. We know if a spider goes up someone's arm and I'm observing it going up your arm, I'm going to get a creepy feeling. We take this for granted, but we are actually soft-wired to actually experience another's plight as if we are experiencing ourselves. But mirror neurons are just the beginning of a whole range of research going on in neuropsychology and brain research and in child development that suggests that we are actually soft-wired, not for aggression and violence and self-interest and utilitarianism, that we are actually soft-wired for sociability, attachment, as John Bowlby might have said, affection, companionship, and that the first drive is the drive to actually belong. It's an empathic form.
Okay. Uh, you're able to see my next slide.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thinking to feeling.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the previous video was all about, say, when somebody is sad at home, why do we all feel sad? When somebody is happy, joy, excitement, we all feel the same joy and excitement, because that's how we're all designed to experience, or rather, that's the job of the mirror neurons. Moving on, thinking further more deeply from thinking to feeling, how to manage children when they completely completely refuse to do something that is necessary for their well-being, and they have tantrums. What do we do? We want our children to do something, it's good for them, but they're not cooperating, and they have tantrums. What do we do?
We use loving words.
Anything else? And do they listen when we use loving words?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Anything else?
I share stories, either any story or even from the relatives or the friends related to that situation. I try to convey through stories.
That is wonderful. Okay. Loving words, stories, any other experience? We can remember one more thing, right? There is this famous proverb, like, tell me, I'll forget. Okay. If I'm talking to you, probably, few days down the lane, we forget. Show me, I may remember, because we capture the object and we will like, yeah, that day I saw this, right? But involve me, I will understand, right? So involving the children, right? If they are not understanding, involving is basically could be the best way. And this is true not just for children, but also for adult. So the key is the key to installing this is to become role models. Like, parents are the role model for children, especially the little one. We don't even have to force them. When they see us in a particular manner, they're going to tend to copy what they basically see. For example, if you want to tell them to go to bed early, then you have to go to bed early along with them. If you want them to avoid using mobile phones, you should tell them no phone times, etc. And if they are, you can involve them in smaller household activities. Instead of saying you can't do this, you're too small, you're too little, can involve them as much as they can for their age, giving them the little work that they feel confident and comfortable that they can do, even though it may not be perfect. Just that involvement gives them a lot of satisfaction, a lot of sense of achievement, and a lot of they evolve and grow together along with us. So as far as tantrum in children are concerned, it is basically a preemptive declaration of war, right? They're unhappy with something. Very soon it's going to burst either into a big loud cry, or basically a fight or an argument. When you sense that, it's better we distract them. We can throw them some humor, or basically try to de-escalate the situation, rather than going with that flow and starting to fight and starting to justify and starting to explain to them how they are wrong, right? So the more we become role models, the better it is basically going to become for the children. Why? Because interest and observation are basically twins. When we take interest, we observe, and when we observe, we establish a deeper connection with it. If you don't mind, if you can observe this picture for 1 minute. Now, if you can tell me, what color shirt was Mark wearing? If you did not notice this, here is Mark, right? And he's wearing a purple shirt. So what happens is, when you observe with interest and alertness, you could make even the minute observation. So all we need to develop in children and is this tendency to develop interest and make them observe things around them. For example, give them the sense of direction, sense of responsibility, even when they are very small. Or rather, we can also try to explain children through play. So parents can play along and talk. When children are sharing, we can listen to them carefully. Also, we can highlight how we can use all our senses to become more observer. And we can encourage them to observe their feelings, also encourage them to ask questions. The key point is it is extremely important to develop the tendency of showing interest and observation in children at a much earlier age. This comes only when we involve them in the activities that we are basically doing, everyday chores. Nothing wrong. Most of our houses have, most of our houses could have household helpers, basically maids who comes and support us. Doesn't mean our children shouldn't be taught how to, do small things by themselves, and how to basically self-sustain and self-survive. They learn a lot through that. They develop a lot of self-confidence through that. So there is a very small, there is this program called Brighter Minds, which is exactly focused on how to move from thinking to feeling. This is part of Heartfulness also. I just wanted to very quickly play this Brighter Minds video, which explain how this program takes the child from thinking to feeling. Sorry. Second.
We all want the best for our children so that they can excel in life. We admit them to the best schools, encourage them to play sports, and enroll them in extracurricular activities. But the world around us is becoming increasingly complex. The number of distractions is increasing, and the stress levels in our children are rising. Their attention spans are decreasing, and their minds are becoming restless. There is too much to do in too little time. How can we help them deal with life and realize their true potential? The answer lies hidden inside the mind of every child, which is not yet completely used to its fullest capability. Brighter Minds program unlocks the hidden potential of your child and makes them future ready. It uses the principle of enhancing the capacity of the brain of your child while it is still developing and receptive to learning. It brings about a fine balance between the logical, analytical, holistic, creative, and intuitive processes of the brain of your child. At Brighter Minds, the capacity of the brain is enhanced using proven and well-researched methodology that includes unique brain exercises for sharpening cognitive retention, sensory augmentation through acoustic vibrations, and relaxation techniques that calm the mind and raise the potential of your child. All this helps your child in developing deeper observational skills, enhancing the ability to stay focused with increased attention time spans, and inspiring creativity, helping your child in problem solving and staying ahead. It increases self-confidence and gives your child the power of intuition, helping your child in dealing with stressful, demanding environments and complex situations. It creates a habit of excellence in thought and action, helping children impart true human values and achieve their fullest potential. Brighter Minds makes your child ready for the future. Give your child the right gift. Brighter Minds. A gift for a lifetime.
Okay, so what this brighter mind is all about is, I know most of us would have already seen, the kids are capable of just blindfolding themselves and reading the text, or rather identifying what colors is it. It is basically without seeing, but by just touching and feeling. And how are these kids able to perform these activities by not seeing is basically based on the science of neuroplasticity. So this is a training methodology designed to catalyze cognitive growth for children between the age of 5 to 15 for a lifetime of learning. So using our proprietary interactive tools and techniques, each of the training programs aims at the whole brain activation, where the right brain is stimulated through exercise, sound wave, and relaxation to achieve left-right equilibrium. Generally, our left brain is completely active, but our right brain is not so in most of us. So what we are trying to do here is basically the left-right equilibrium. The result is an intellectually, socially, and emotionally brighter minds, or rather brighter children. So just wanted to provide a very quick thought process on the Brighter Minds program. Now moving on to observation, like we were speaking about this observation and interest. So I'm sure we would have observed our breathing and energy pattern. So all of us have right nostrils and left nostrils. So what do you think? How are breathing and energy flow related? And if one of you, if you're aware, if you can help me understand, when is the right nostril active and when is the left nostril active? And why so? Any thoughts on when our right nostril is active? Air doesn't flow. Even now, if you really observe, you will see that only one of your nostril is very active. Even though you're breathing through both the nostrils, one of the nostrils functions at a much faster rate than the other. Have you observed it?
Yeah, daytime right nostril. Mostly nighttime left. Why, I don't know.
Okay. Why? Why is it active? Because during day we are absorbing energy. And that is the reason why it is advised, when you're asked to meditate in the morning, because we basically absorb the energy. If left is active, then you are radiating energy. And that is the reason why in heartfulness tradition, we basically, have our cleaning done in the evening. So if you're very stressed out, if you're very angry, you can close your right nostril and do left nostril breathing. This will help us calm down. So if you close your right, you're very angry, you want to calm down, it's during day, your right nostril is active, close your right nostril and gently breathe in and breathe out through your left nostril 10 times. You will definitely feel that you've calmed down. Similarly, if you're very lazy, if you feel very dull, and if you want some energy because you have to do some activity, close your left nostril, breathe in and breathe out 10 times using your right nostril if you want yourself to get activated. So these breathing are actually linked with your energy patterns as well. So these all could be some interesting observation for the children as well. So observations and interest are not analytical in nature like math or language. They are more nuanced skills, and these needs attention too. One does not need to spend hours of time together, but even if it's minutes, right? If we can spend time with our children, and if we can do it with involvement, this breathing exercise can be of immense help for calming us down or actually getting our children energized as well. So I'm not going to practice it for lack of time. So we can absolutely try the breathing exercise at the end of the session if you're interested. Last but not the least, there is an important aspect to this entire character building and this entire personality building that we have been focusing about. What do you understand from this picture? What is this picture depicting? Prayer. What does this has to do with character and personality?
Priority should be given to others. Like in Sanskrit, always the first person is the others, na? We are the last person.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So humility comes automatically when we think that the other person is greater.
Wonderful. So why is this humility important, and how is it related to character? Thank you. That was a wonderful response. Relating it back to Sanskrit, our confidence, courage, and self-awareness are all gift of humility. How is confidence and courage gift of humility? So let us look at Mahatma Gandhi. Was he courageous? Let's look at the life of Jesus, or let's look at the life of Mother Teresa, Mandela. We all unanimously have to agree that they had a lot of self confidence, they had a lot of courage. We don't have time with their life, we don't have think back, but if we just focus on them, they had immense courage, right? Without which Mahatma Gandhi could not have led a movement. It's the same with Mother Teresa. She might not have walked the miles she walked in her life. But what was common behind all of these personalities and what instilled in them or what gave them that confidence and courage was nothing but their humility, right? However, we focused on, we're heavily focused on training our children how to be happy, how to be healthy, right? What is our criteria for how to be happy? Our criteria for how to be happy is success. If you fail, you're sad, your life isn't worth it, right? How do we call the lives of all of these greater personalities who had a lot more confidence in their life, right? So let's understand this humility a little bit deeper. Say, for example, if a musician is thinking, I am the best performer ever and no one is better than me, and he goes with that attitude to perform in the stage. All of our kids are also performers, right? They go to exams, they have to perform. They go for an annual day function, they have to either sing, dance. If your kid is a great cricket player, he still needs to go play outside with others, right? With what attitude are they going out? With what attitude are they approaching their exams, or they're approaching their, whatever skill sets that they have in life is important. Because if this musician, for example, in the case of this musician, he goes out and thinks, I am better and no one is better than me, it's highly a sign of inflated ego. Can we check in our children if they, if this is the sign? Or let's come to the next level. If the musician thinks, I performed well today, it is much better than any of my other performance, there is a tinge of confidence in this. Of course, there is a little bit of a pride, but there is also a confidence. This is better. I performed because it's centering around me. I'm not thinking about I have performed better than anyone else. That comparison is gone, right? So that's another level. Now, the third level is I really perform well. Thanks a lot to all of my trainers, my teachers, and all of the ones who the best wishes of everyone around me and the efforts of my friends and family. Then this is called humility. Are we spending time to train and teach our children humility as a part and parcel of their life? Because success can then become sweet, right? If you resonate with these three sentences, you know how success could look like. I am the best. Nobody has done better than me today. While the second version is, I have done well so far compared to any of my other performance. The third is, I did tremendously well. Thank you so much for helping me out. Thanks for your blessings. Which one would you prefer your children to have? If you would like for your children to practice humility, it has to be a conscious effort. So, why? Because humility is mother tincture from which other qualities like truthfulness, if you want your child to be truthful, right? If your child should have respect and reverence for elders, for society, and courage, all these are qualities that stems from that one quality called humility. Today, the kids have a lot of problems like prejudice, inequality, intolerance. All these lacks because of the lack of humility. So, if we are focusing on character formation, it is extremely important that we do not override or rather overlook the importance of humility and the necessity for the parents to instill this beautiful quality and tendency in our children. So let's hear a very small story about this humility. Once there was an emperor, he was sleeping in his bed and he woke up and he was super thirsty. Unfortunately, there were no guards around him to bring water. He shouted that nobody could hear him. He looked for any guards. No one was there. He saw through the window. He saw a well, and the gardeners were basically drawing some water from the well. He decided to, go himself, fetch the water for himself. He walked down. He went to the lawn. He started basically pulling the rope and the pulley, up, filled it with water. He was trying to pull the rope up. While pulling, what actually happened was somehow his hand was stuck because he was a king. He was an emperor. He hasn't done such course for long, for any time. His hands were basically stuck and tied between the pulley and hands. He couldn't bear the pain and he dropped his hands. He released his hands. The bucket and the rope basically fell down. His hands were so badly hurt. He walked a little bit and sat under the shade of the tree. And he closed his eyes, right? What would we have done if we were an emperor? What would have happened? How on earth no guard is there when I am calling? This beautiful emperor, he sat down and he closed his eyes and he said, "Oh Lord, I am not even capable of drawing this water from this well, yet you have made me an emperor." Right? So there's a lot of meaning and there is a lot of deep thoughts in this story. I'll leave you with this story, but humility is a sign of great self-awareness. Not everything is about our deservingness. It is not because we have put in a lot of effort, because there is an equal part for the larger society, for our families, for our friends in our success. How do we create this humility? Prayer. Prayer creates space for humility to develop. Can we all make an effort to teach our children how to pray early on? Prayer is not religious ritual, nor it is words that we chant. Rather, it's a feeling that is created in the heart. When you heard the story of the emperor, I'm sure there would be a churn of feeling in your heart. That feeling is basically the prayer. Prayer opens the heart to a deeper level of communication within oneself. Please make humility a conversation topic at home. This will help children develop humility. For developing humility, we can ask them questions on when were you last wrong, right? Because we always tell them be right, be right, be right. We do not resonate with when were you last wrong. You can ask them when you were absolutely sure. When did you discover that with that confidence you are actually wrong and not right? Or you can ask them, what did you recently learn? You can share with them what wrongs you did as when you were a child and how you corrected them. Probably share your own story with them. Last but not the least, humility is certainly not thinking less about ourselves, but it's about thinking less of ourselves, right? Giving that space to others, as somebody pointed out early on from Sanskrit. So with that, I would, walk through some of the thoughts that we basically thought, but that brings us to the closure of the topic. If anybody has any thoughts to share, today we deep dived on character and personality, and we ended with how humility is absolutely necessary and how having a conversation about Character and personality is extremely important as much as we pay attention to academics, science, technology, art, maths. Character doesn't grow naturally just like that. It has to be a conscious effort. Said that, I'll stop there for any questions or thoughts, or anybody wants to share anything in the last 1 minute or so. Wonderful. If not, is it okay for us to? I know we are on time. In the last 1 minute, if it would be okay for us to relax quickly, can we please try heartfulness relaxation? Thank you. It wouldn't take more than a couple of minutes. So, if we can all sit comfortably. And close our eyes very gently and very softly. Let's begin with the toes. Wiggle your toes and feel them relaxed. Relax your ankles and feet. Feel the energy move up from Mother Earth to your feet and to your knees, relaxing your entire legs. This energy moves upward, relaxing your thighs. Your entire legs are now completely relaxed. Now deeply relax your hips, stomach, and waist. Relax your back. From the top to the bottom, your entire back is now completely relaxed. Relax your chest and shoulders. Feel your shoulders simply melting away. Relax your upper arms, each muscles in your forearms, your hands, right up to your fingertips. Relax your neck muscle. Now please move your awareness to your face and relax your jaws, lips, nose, eyes, ears, earlobes, facial muscles, forehead, all the way to the top of your head. Your entire body is now completely relaxed. Now gently move your attention to your heart. As you rest there, Gently have this idea that the source of divine light that's already present in your heart is illuminating your heart from within and is attracting your attention inward. Feel immersed in the love and light in your heart. Slowly become absorbed in yourself. Remain within this deep silence. Thank you all for joining. Over to you, Pooja sister.
Thank you so much, Viji ma'am. That was really a wonderful session. We have so many things to think over, to ponder over, and so many things to take away after this session. So we started with character and personality. We saw that how building this character is just like a tree, and getting the fruits of this tree is the personality. So we have to build hard on this tree aspect to get beautiful fruits, that is a good personality. If we want, then we have to work hard on building this tree, a very fruitful tree. For that, we move to the next perspective. It's right, a perspective that how we see at the things from parents angle first makes the right perspective to for the child to understand, because as a parent we are more focused on how others are doing well as compared to us, or as compared to our children, that how is he scoring, how is he doing good in his life. And so we compare, many a times with the others scores with our children. So that developing a right perspective to go ahead is very important for parents to learn as a building our moral muscles. Nowadays we are spending much of our time in building our intellectual muscles, but spending very much lesser time on building our moral or value based muscle. So we have to give much more time or much more attention on building our moral muscles as well, along with this intellectual muscles. Because previously, we had a lot of people around the children in our homes, outside the home. Just like we saw in the first session, we had a big village or lot of people, group of people around us, around the children, to tell them what is good and what is bad. But now the children are in a very closed and a very limited space of people. So the responsibility of parent is growing inside the house, and outside the house we have teachers who have a growing responsibility on their shoulders. Then we have discussion with children is very important. So in this respect, this brings to us to a new point, that how we can have spend much more time discussing lot of things, talking lot of things with our children, at what happened in the school, what happened in the school ground, or what happened around your life. So communication is a very key point, which is going to help us find what is happening inside the hearts or inside the minds of our child, so that we can divert it to build a right perspective. Again, the new next point we saw is the mirror neurons, that children are replicating whatever we are doing. And these mirror neurons are responsible for thinking to feeling. So whatever the parents are doing, the children are getting influenced and copying the same, be it a mobile phone, be it a TV, be it picking a book from a bookshelf and reading it. Whatever the parents are doing, it is immediately mirror neuroned by the children. So we have to think wisely before pointing out to the child. We have to see into ourselves that what are we doing, so that the child is mirroring it out. And the last and very important point we saw that is we have to build humility, because humility gives us understanding that we ourselves are great, definitely, but the other person is much more greater than us. So we are not thinking ourselves less, but thinking less about our own selves and putting the other person ahead of us. So in such scenarios, problems such as prejudice or lack of understanding of other person, children throwing tantrums, and many more such things are reduced. Why nowadays we see this? Because of lack of humility. So when children are taught humility, it goes far beyond far beyond imagination, we can say. So humility is a sign of self-awareness, and how we can create this humility with prayer. So we can teach children how to pray in this early age, as prayer opens hearts and makes us more accepting. So key is the prayer that we can certainly use to open the hearts of our children and make them more understanding and more accepting. So that is what we all learned so much of from today's session. Thank you so much, Viji ma'am. Thank you so much, all dear parents, for being in this today's session. Again, we'll be meeting next Saturday, 5 p.m. for the next session, again with the new principle. So till then, thank you all. Thank you all parents for joining.
Recording stopped.